So, today, Buddy would like to be a part of the video, but he's so dark you can hardly see him. Anyway, I really wanted to put out some of these quick tip videos. Maybe that's what I should just call it, it's a quick tip. So this is gonna help you improve your shifting by quite a bit, especially on a mountain bike. Buddy, oh you ham. This is something that is quite overlooked. Instead of replacing your housing, sometimes it just needs a little lubrication, just like your chain. So, and we are still working on Buddy. I've got him now to where he will, oh, I don't like the ear licks. I've got him now to where he will jump the barriers. That's something. I'm still not gonna trust him enough to do a trail run yet. He's getting there though. Let's just get to the bike shop. Let's go through this quick tip really fast. And that way I can start on the video about the new mountain bike trail. All right, let's do it. All right guys, so like I said, this is gonna be a quick tip. This was something that I learned pretty early on. This bike we have set up to where it is actually shifting pretty dang good. And there's a little bit of lag in between some of the gears, but all of them should be adjusted as best we can. The derailleur hanger is straight. If you don't know how to actually adjust the gears, I've got an old video. It's very simple, but basically the mechanics of how this works, you do have pretty much a ratchet for a shifter. That is what's gonna tell the rear derailleur what to do. You have a cable running from here all the way to the end, and it's got housing. So with a bike like this, we'll start with a little bit older generation stuff. So everything is external on this bike, no internal cable routing. We'll get to that in a second. The external cable routing stuff though, this is the easiest bike that you can do this with, but the principle still remains the same if you have internal housing. It's a little bit harder to get to. We'll get to all that. So shift the bike into the easiest gear possible. Now without pedaling, take the shifter, shift it into the hardest gear you got. Now what that is gonna do, watch this, this is a good trick. You can pop the housing actually out of the cradles so it's free floating. So, and I actually prefer to use the tri-flow. So what you basically want to do, since this housing is external, it allows more grit and grime and just crap to get inside of this. And that's gonna mess up your shifting. Everything on this bike's mechanical. People forget that, I think. You can't just turn the barrel adjuster and it'll magically work. There's a bunch of reasons why your bike could be shifting incorrectly. This is gonna help, at least. This is one of the first things I do if it's acting weird. So you basically take this, do not spray your brakes. Dear God, please don't spray your brakes. Take it, work it, and then you just sit here and get that lube all inside of the housing. Put it back, move on to the next section of housing. Same the whole way. Listen to that. Also, while you're doing this, it's good to just go ahead and check your housing. Sometimes it can actually be split near some of the ferrules, and that will cause it to misshift, and you will have to replace the housing. Work it. Last but not least, you want to lubricate your shifter. That is the most important part on here, because without the shifter telling the derailleur what to do correctly, it's not gonna work. There's a little screw on most of the Shimanos. There will be a port somewhere on your shifter. If not, find a hole that you can stick this needle in. So you wanna drop the screw on the ground, find it later, but you wanna take the tri-flow, fill that thing up. I tend to do this at the shop because the tri-flow gets everywhere when I fill it up. If you want, you can just be careful and hold a rag underneath it. So now once you have that finished, you want to find your screw and you want to replace it. That way no more dust and dirt and crap can get inside of it. The screw is plastic. If you lose it, it's not imperative. Your shifter's not gonna explode, but it's gonna be easier for dirt and stuff to get inside of it. Once that happens, I like to shift it back up into the easiest gear, start pedaling, and you just wanna do like 3 or 4 passes up and down your cassette. When you do that, it really works the lubrication in. But when you have all the dirt and the grime and the crap that's built up inside of this housing, it's gonna inhibit how it shifts. It may shift okay, but it's not gonna shift perfect, it's not gonna feel as smooth. That's why you wanna keep your housing lubricated. And there's no rule of thumb with when you want to do this. It's more or less when your shifter, it just starts working like junk. You may not necessarily be missing shifts, but it might be very difficult to actually shift it. All right, so when a bike has the cables ran internally, the principle, like I said, is the same. You shouldn't have to do this as often, mainly because most of the time your cables and housing are not exposed to the elements. It's a lot harder to get dirt and grime inside of these things. But if it's misshifting, and it's not really misshifting, but if it feels like doo-doo, if your shifter feels like doo-doo, you can use the same principle. Shift it into easiest gear. Make it go all the way down. Roll up your sleeves because I keep getting crap on them. So you can pop this guy out. Now, as you see, whenever I pop it out, when you pop this guy out, you will only be able to see a little bit of the cable, and that is where you want to actually put the lubrication in. There's not going to be as much exposed. You can't actually sit there and work it, but this still gets the job done, and it still helps quite a bit. So you spray a little lube on there, put it back into place, come up to the shifter, and there's sand all in this guy. And where you insert the cable at, it's gonna be different per shifter, but you should be able to find it. Sit there and lube it. Put lube everywhere. Anywhere you see a mechanical looking object, you can put this Tri-Flow or your specific lube of choice into it. Now, do the exact same thing. Sit there and work it back and forth. Most people, when they come in and ask why their bike is shifting like dookie, even though they have adjusted it properly, this is one of the first things that I do. You know, keep it simple, stupid, as they say. Check all the bases. Walk behind it, check your derailleur hanger, make sure it is straight. Make sure you have good housing, your cables aren't frayed. Check everything before you get too knee deep in thinking something is seriously wrong with your bike. That's about all that I got for you. I'm just trying to do a couple of these quick tips videos because when people ask me, how do I adjust my derailleur? How do I adjust my headset? Something like that. The easiest option and what some people tell you is just to replace this stuff, but that's not always necessary. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you at the next one.